afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Faerie Fable Librarians. I'm Simona.
I'm Katie.
And in celebration of Pride Month, Katie and I are going to be discussing this juvenile graphic novel, The Girl from the Sea, by Molly Knox, and I'm going to hope I say this correctly, but I'm not sure, Ostertag, and I apologize if I am messing that up. But this is what we're going to be talking about in honor of Pride Month. So just a brief summary of what it's about. So the story focuses on a teenage girl named Morgan who's living with her mom and her younger brother in this small, quaint little seaside town. And she comes across this young girl who's kind of quirky, kind of out there. Turns out the girl, oh, and just FYI, there will be some spoilers. So if you haven't yet read this, save it, come back and join us later. And it turns out this girl is a Kelpie. Selkie. Sorry, did I say kelp?
You did.
Kelpie's another creature. They drown people. Selkies don't do this. She's a Selkie, not a Kelpie. So Selkies are present in Irish and Scottish folklore and myth. So they're seals that in this story, it's every 7 years. She can come on land if she receives a kiss, and she can live out as a human. So Morgan meets her. She thinks she's very strange, and she is kind of strange, but she's not human, so that makes sense. She gives her the name Keltie. And Morgan is also dealing with a secret of her own. She's gay, but she hasn't yet told her family because she's unsure about how her family will react if she does come out, and she hasn't even come out to her friends, Serena, Jules, and Lizzie. So essentially, she and Keltie kind of develop a relationship, but Morgan is not 100% comfortable with coming out with the relationship. And also, Keltie is a Selkie, so that rhymes. So there's even that added factor that she's not even a human. So it'd kind of be difficult to come out to your friends and say, oh, by the way, I'm dating a mythological creature. But, eventually she does come out to her friends. Her brother discovers her kissing Keltie, and he blurts out the fact that she's dating a girl in front of her family, her grandparents and her mom. And Morgan is devastated because, again, she's fearful about how her mom will react. But her mom, in a very beautiful moment, basically says, and it's kind of funny too because she tries to she comes out of the closet. She says, I'm coming out of the closet. She's like, oh, that sounded better in my head. So it's a really cute moment, but the mom embraces her and assures her that she loves her and accepts her. She says it may be a little harder for your grandparents, but we'll eventually, tell them. She does come out to her friends because one of her friends, Serena, her family is very wealthy, and they have this cruise
It's a yacht.
ship.
It's a yacht.
And they're planning on sort of charting a specific course, which another element of the story, but it's like a tiny element, is kind of Keltie, who is concerned about the cruise ship because it'll sort of disrupt, what's it called?
It's a rookery.
A rookery, thank you.
You don't remember gargoyles, do you? They also called it a rookery.
No.
With all their hatchlings.
Yeah, I didn't remember that. So Keltie is concerned that with the ship passing by the rookery, it's going to disrupt and be harmful. So she has plans to sort of sabotage the cruise ship. It doesn't really go that well.
Well, it's not necessarily a cruise ship.
The yacht, but
it's for boat tours.
Yeah, but cruise ship.
It's not a cruise.
Okay.
It's not a cruise. They're only going around the island. That's not a cruise. That's a tour.
Okay, tour. Tomato. So Serena, when she finds out with the other group of friends, she's a little bit more angry because naturally and understandably, Morgan, as she's discovering her relationship with Keltie and figuring things out, she becomes sort of secretive. She's not really hanging out with her friends. I like the text messages that you see, and she sort of hasn't really been talking to her friends. Now, Morgan rightfully says, this is my secret. It was, I'm the one that decides when it comes out, and I'm the one who should have decided, when I'm comfortable, and I wasn't comfortable yet. Thankfully, that minor conflict doesn't last very long, because I was concerned that with Serena, it would probably turn ugly. Like, I thought it was going to go in a different direction when Serena finds out. I don't know if you felt the same.
No, but I can understand also where Serena's hurtfulness comes from because Morgan has been very withdrawn all summer long. And her decision to make this Kelty and her a secret is really unfair to Kelty. I understood it, but at the same time I didn't like it because it then puts a strain on your new relationship. It also puts a strain on the old relationships you have, and it could very easily blow up in your face. And I can understand having plans for your future, but if you're also not flexible on those plans and you just try to stick to it all, then that can also very easily blow up in your face. And it kind of does.
Yeah. With Serena, like, I understood her hurt. I was thinking she was going to be, like, homophobic. That's where I thought the writer was going with that at first. And I was like, oh, okay, that's not what Serena's issue is.
I never had. And reading it, it didn't appear to be that she was going to be homophobic. What I was concerned of was that Serena wouldn't want to be Morgan's friend anymore because she kept the secret, because she didn't feel as though she could trust Serena with the secret.
Yeah. Yeah. So those were like some of the core conflicts, like Morgan, having the secret of her sexuality, Morgan accepting Kelty, and Kelty's adorable. And her actions make sense when you realize, again, she's not human. But she's very sweet. I love her reaction to, like, buying that graphic shirt with the dolphins. And she says that dolphins are the real king of the seas, like how she just says these random things. And no one else gets it.
She has no inhibition whatsoever.
Yeah, because for her, it's all normal. And that's what I appreciated about Kelty and her character. And then it's like Serena's family and their tourship and the effect it's going to have on the small town. But thankfully, none of these conflicts really overshadow the overall story, which is young love, developing relationships, and sort of the anxiety and that can arise when you have these feelings for someone. And thankfully, the other conflicts didn't really overshadow any of that. So one of the scenes which I thought was also going to go another direction was when Kelty sort of changes the not coordinate. Is it coordinates?
Yes.
Of the ship to crash into like some kind of reef. Thankfully, she tells Morgan, and Morgan tells her, "Oh, that's a bad idea." And I like how Kelty zooms into the ship. It's just, and she fixes it.
Yeah.
But Serena, I love how you almost miss it if you're not paying attention, but there's a
panel.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're helping with my words today. There's a panel where you see Serena, like flying, and because she's like, obviously that's after she and Morgan have had an argument, so she's hanging out on the railing, and she goes, falls overboard. And Kelty rescues her as a seal. And that's the moment, essentially, where the parting occurs, because once she dives back into the water, and I love that moment where, like, her seal face parts so Serena can see, and Serena's completely okay with it, which, whatever,
I think she was in shock, but at the same time, she's drowning,
Yeah.
So
Kelty rescues Serena, but unfortunately, because she dives back in the water, she has to wait.
Well, it's not because she dived back in the water. It's because she put back her seal skin back on.
Oh, okay. All right. So she puts her seal skin back on, and because she did that, now she has to wait 7 more years before she can sort of take the skin off and rejoin Morgan.
Yeah.
So I admit I did find the ending sad, although it also is very hopeful. So I love there's an element of sadness because they do separate. But there's also that hope that after 7 years, they're going to reunite and hopefully continue their relationship. What I also loved was the reveal that the grandfather either is a Selkie or at least was a Selkie.
He is a Selkie.
So would he still would maintain? I thought maybe he had been, but since he was mostly human, maybe he.
No, his
doesn't.
eyes are still the
I
seal
thought it
eyes.
was the cutest thing.
Yeah.
Where the grandma says, "Oh, we understand," and then the grandfather, you see his big silky eyes, so cute. And I guess there's also a hint too that the grandparents will be accepting of Morgan, because I'm not sure if by the end Morgan has revealed.
Well,
that
yeah,
she's-
it would.
she has.
Yeah, because they talk about the Selkie.
Oh, I thought okay.
Yeah.
I'm just quickly. Okay. How do you know about? Okay, yes. All right. So yeah. So she has revealed that, and like I just want to show that panel because it's just so cute. So like, these are her grandparents, and her grandfather's like motioning to his like glasses, and then he takes it off, and he's a Selkie. He has the big Selkie eyes. I thought that was so cute. So yeah. So I know. I just thought that was adorable. So yeah, so it ends on a very positive note because, like I said, Morgan, that burden of coming out has been lifted because now her family knows, her friends know, and she's also now free once that sort of fear and anxiety has been lifted. Now she can do other things, plan for her future. The sea is safe because I'm assuming with the cruise tour, like Serena said she would talk to her dad, so we're going to assume she has. So at least the rookery is safe, and I know that the town, there were hints that the town wasn't too happy with like the crowds that it would bring in and the damage that it would do. So those like major conflicts are resolved and there's some resolution by the end. So like, what were your thoughts?
Oh,
Because I realized I've been talking. I felt so bad. Like, what are your thoughts?
I really enjoyed the book. I thought it was a really great book. I have one caveat.
Okay.
I understand that she took the Selkie mythology and twisted it in order to fit the narrative of the story. But as far as I'm aware, Selkies don't wait every 7 years to shed their skin. It's whenever they feel like it. And you have to hide the Selkie skin because if the Selkie, in order for the Selkie to stay on land, because the instant the Selkie finds its skin, it's putting it back on and going back into the ocean.
Which Morgan kind of sort of does. Let me see, like,
no, she doesn't hide it. Kelty gives her the skin. And then Morgan wears the skin as like a shawl at Serena's birthday party. Which, and again, I understand that the author made the myth.
So that's the panel where Kelty sort of like is showing her seal skin.
Yeah, and it's again, I know that the author twisted the myth in order to forward the narrative. I don't know.
I also think if that would have been done, because at first because I had almost forgotten, like when I saw Morgan has the skin, she puts it in the drawer, I was like, oh, is she hiding the skin? Like, is she not going to give it back? I kind of feel that had the author done that, there would have been concerns about consent, maybe, or because I understand what the original,
and that's why she changed the myth in order to to fit the narrative.
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah,
fine. It was beautifully and illustrated. I like the coming of age story. I was not as sad as you were when Kelty had to...
I wasn't like I want to clarify. I wasn't like crying at night, sobbing into my pillow. But like with me though, if I was, I'll never admit it. With me though, it's that these kind of bittersweet, and I'm not saying that Morgan and Kelty are never going to get back together. It's indicated that once the 7 years have passed, Kelty is going to come back on land, and they're essentially going to continue the relationship. Right. I just was sad because like when Morgan, like after Serena's been rescued, Morgan is devastated when Kelty says, you know, like now that I've put it back on, I can't stay with you.
Right.
So I kind of felt that sadness with Morgan. I was like, oh, But I did enjoy that the fact that at the end Morgan is at peace
Yeah,
because
well,
she
because
has come out. Yeah,
there's hope.
yeah,
There's hope, and that's the most important part of that.
yeah,
Also too, it's now Morgan will be able to step into adulthood essentially, feeling more confident in herself, feeling more brave to live her truth, as it were. Um, and if fate intervenes, she and Kelty will be together after 7 years. But she's not. What I like is that she's not restraining herself from staying. Like she's not. She's gonna move forward with her future and isn't going to like stay on the island for 7 years in the hope that Kelty will come back and that they'll be together. She's going to go to college. She's going to live life, essentially.
And I like, which I wanted to show that the author, and she's also the illustrator, has like the concept sketches for the characters, and I loved reading her thought process behind how they're designed, and like playing around with outfits and with Kelty, which rightfully so, her fashion represents, first of all, that she's new to it. She doesn't have the concept of clothes, but she's not as well put together and as almost restrained the way Morgan is. Like Morgan does experiment. Like I love the dress that she wears. But like Morgan is obviously more put together, but she still explores the fashion. So like I always love that because it shows how intentional the creators are when they design characters and with the decisions that they go for. And I just also wanted to show like more of these panels because I love the color scheme. I love how warm it is.
Nothing about it is stark or cold or uninviting.
And I love how it's demonstrated, like when Kelty is talking to the seals, and when the seals respond, sort of like it's they're so pretty. Like I just love the illustrations.
I do want to also emphasize that Morgan's brother Aiden doesn't out her out with like malicious intent.
Yes,
their parents have just divorced. So their father is now living out in the city on the mainland. He's no longer on the island. It's just her mom, and Aiden, Morgan, and he does apologize to her, very heartfelt, which honestly made me more emotional than Kelty and Morgan saying goodbye to each other. And the reason why he outed her was, again, not to be malicious, but because Morgan not only has withdrawn from her friends, but also has withdrawn from her family. And we see in panels and like flashbacks that she and Morgan and Aiden were very close when they were younger. So when he outs her, it's because he wants attention from her. And attention-seeking behavior is, can be good and can be bad.
And these are the panels when they sort of like when Aiden apologizes, and I love because it is true because Morgan has, as you said, withdrawn from her family. And I love how like they design an outfit together because Morgan has an interest in fashion, and like I said, Aiden, yes, he outs her, but it's not like, as you said, done with the intent of hurting her. But he still recognizes, as you said, that was wrong. But and they have a beautiful moment.
And he had in that moment hurt her, and what that he had in that moment hurt her, and I love the realization Aiden had that he had in fact hurt Morgan, and subsequently apologizes to her. And
one thing I do love too about this book is that it is hopeful because I do know that with a lot of teens, when they are coming out, there are teens that are accepted. There are teens who aren't accepted, unfortunately. But like with this book, it provides hope that there are people in your life who will accept you as you are and who will love you as you are. So to always have hope, and that you are capable of finding love and living a fulfilling life. So that's why I
Yeah.
also like this graphic novel and why it's definitely my recommendation for Pride Month. And this book is available in our system, and it's also available through Hoopla and Libby. So yeah, highly recommend this book. Yeah, it's just such a nice coming of age, nice love story. So highly recommend.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so thank you so much for joining us for our Pride Month discussion. As always, like, subscribe if
And
you. Oh,
the book is available. Is that our copy? Or is it?
yes, this is
Yeah,
our
so
copy.
we have a
Yeah.
copy. It should also be available in our system.
Yeah.
And it's also available on Hoopla as an ebook.
Yeah. So, and if you have any questions about any of our streaming services, please feel free to call us or come in and we'll help you download the app. They're wonderful services. So, yeah, so thank you so much for joining us. Happy Pride Month, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.